Hello and welcome to the Bend Like Bamboo Resilience series. To bend like bamboo is to master change with flexibility. And on the show, I'm interviewing very special guests to dive deep into their own stories and the things they've been through so that we can understand how they have mastered change and also been resilient. I want you guys to believe that no matter what it is that you're going through, you can overcome it. Just like our very special guest, Pia Kirkwood. Thank you for coming on today.
Thanks so much for having me, Amanda.
That's all right. I was so excited about this interview and I have to introduce you properly. Just so our special guests, so our audience knows all about you, which you're a very special guest and I've known you, I figured out we met, I think it was 2015.
Has it been that long?
Yeah. 2015.
Wow, because I've been thinking about when I first met you as well.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long. So Pia is a business support professional and advisor, and she works in administration policy, business coordination, project support management in both the public and private sector. Since a young age, Pia has had a keen interest for the Victorian Parliamentary process, in particular how legislation came to be developed, the workings of government to Parliament, and question time. Pia has since achieved the role of parliamentary advisor. From lived experience, Pia also has a passion and a drive to advocate for people with disability, chronic health conditions ranging from flexible working arrangements to discussions on how we can improve the workplace to support our staff and what that looks like. So really important stuff, and I can't wait for this conversation.
So can I.
So let's dive in, lovely. What does resilience mean to you?
Well, resilience, if you look it up in the dictionary, resilience means to recover quickly from difficulties. And, resilience, I think, means, especially in this current environment, resilience is a term that's getting thrown around a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it's losing its value. But for me, it means to, pull through those difficult times and to come out stronger and wiser and to really reflect on what I'm going through. And you really know that I'm a big one for reflection and deep diving.
You make a really good point. We think of resilience and we think pushing forward and strength, and it's actually a balance of that, but also to pull back and give ourselves time and space to, figure out and reflect and to process some of the difficult times that we face. Really, really good point. Now, you've been through a lot. I know you've been through a lot in your life. You've got an amazing career professionally, and I'm sure that comes with its own challenges as well. But would you like to share something in particular, anything at all, professional or personal, something that you've been through in your life that you've had to overcome?
So I think, I've had to overcome a lot of adversity and I've had to come with that being labelled. And I think that does come with my own challenges because of, being a person with a disability and chronic health conditions. And that does face its own challenges. And at times I think I've owned that label too much and I've let it define the person I am.
Yeah.
And that isn't the person I am. I'm a lot more than Pia and the box that people put me in. And when you're put into that box, I think that comes with a lot of angst and anxiety.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'm more than that package. I'm a professional and I can do a great job. And when you're put into that package, and if you start to believe that's all you are, you're not going to progress. You need to overcome that label. And once you overcome that label and own your identity, your development really, really surpasses and really lifts off.
So do you think what you believe impacts how other people perceive you?
Yeah. You might be in a really supportive environment, but because you've been told something, you start to believe that language. And if you believe that language, you're going to put that out to the world, and nothing anyone tells you is going to penetrate that surface.
It's hard to change our minds about deep-seated beliefs, particularly when they've started from a very young age.
Yes.
So what's it been like, obviously living with a disability? You couldn't even tell looking at you though, and maybe that's part of the challenge though, isn't it?
It is. And I think, we've got a lot in society to answer for with especially some of our invisible disabilities, because we've been told by society that a person is supposed to look and act a certain way, and we don't.
Yeah.
And if you're supposed to act and look a certain way, when you come across this person who might, look like a supermodel, or, they might not look what you have been told by society. And this is a huge systemic problem that we have, because when you come into the workplace and you find that a person can adequately perform or overachieve, and you're like, no, but you can't do that. You can't read or write. You're not meant to perform this way. And that can be very debilitating. And you then overperform and take on more than you're expected to try and prove yourself. And that's very exhausting.
Yeah, so when we believe we're not enough, we can absolutely take on too much and wear everything on our shoulders, and then this leads to exhaustion and overworking, and then we become unhealthy and unhappy, don't we?
Yes, and it's always trying to find that answer of why am I doing this? And when you do find that answer, it's, but how do I stop that pattern?
How do you stop that pattern?
And how do you? And that's something that you and I have been working so closely with me to, how do I say no?
Yes, Pia is one of my clients, from Ben Like Bamboo, and that is how we met, isn't it?
It is. I saw Amanda at a presentation, and I instantly connected and went, I have to see Amanda. And I've been seeing Amanda since. But one of the things I have to work on is, how do I say no? How do I draw the line for me to keep a healthy balance?
So is that one of the biggest hurdles you've faced, is how to live with a disability and also be a professional, and to have boundaries, and managing how you're perceived in that corporate environment with the health challenges that you face?
Yes, because, I'm concerned that, if I say no, that I'll be considered weak and not live up to the same standards as other people that are at the same level as me.
Yeah, you nailed it. That's a huge thing to address. And then, so what's been your lowest point when you have taken on too much and you haven't believed that perhaps you're enough, or that you're, some of the battles you've faced living with a disability? I mean, can we talk through some of those points of how you feel when you're unwell, and then how that impacts what goes on around your work?
I think I'm really lucky. I do have 2 dogs who are trained assistance dogs.
I know.
So I do have a little, trick up my sleeve, that I get to take a dog to work with me to support me.
Yeah.
And Harper is very interactive, and Cooper is not so interactive. He just wants to do his job. So I do have that up my sleeve. I do have flexible working arrangements in my corner as well. So I do get to do a day or 2, so I can reevaluate my hours.
Wonderful.
So I'm really supported. So I can think, should I be taking a dog, or should I be going to work? So can I work from home today? And have that conversation with my manager. So, previously I wasn't supported at one stage in the workplace, and I did have to fight really hard to get my dog to support me. I did have to have a seizure to prove my point. It wasn't me proving my point, it was an accident.
Yeah,
I had pushed myself very hard, but it wasn't. And still that dialogue had to go on for a lot longer, because I was the first person with epilepsy to make that request.
So how did that make you feel when it was at its most challenging, where you didn't feel supported?
I didn't feel like I was worthy. And that dialogue does come up it was coming up very frequently. And that's something that now I'm in a much better place, that I don't feel that necessity. I don't worry. I do worry when I'm making that request, what if this happens again? Just because it was so traumatic. It went on for a very long period. And it was a very traumatic period that I felt very isolated from my co-workers and from management as well.
And what do you think the key thing when reflecting back on that, what was it? What would you? What do you think was the very thing that made it so difficult? The circumstances in terms of what was the hardest part about it?
I think that there was a lot of fear. There was a lot of emotions. Because it was an emotional decision and a personal and professional, and they were all tied. And when it's emotional and emotional decisions, of course, it takes a very different turn. And when it's your professional life and all those emotional decisions get involved, it really does change where you're sitting.
Do you think that's why you're so passionate about working with in the disability industry now, just to help educate and inspire people about what it feels like to be working in the corporate environment when you're living with a disability, and how important communication is so everybody understands different people's needs?
I think that was one of the key factors. Because I had been through the private sector and always been made to feel less than what I was, because I wear who I am on my sleeve very openly. What you see is what you get with me. I will never be anything other than that.
Yep.
And I was losing my jobs because they were intimidated by having someone saying, I am Pia and I have epilepsy.
Yeah.
And they didn't want someone to say and own who they were. And then I think this was the final straw for me. And then I joined where I'm working now, and they started the Enablers Network. Yeah. And I joined the Enablers Network, and I realised I could do more, and I became co-chair, and that has really turned my passion and my drive, and it's kept me employed.
So tell us about that program.
So the Enablers Network for the state of Victoria, there's a network in each department, and it's a voluntary network for people with disabilities, chronic health conditions, allies, and their carers. Yeah. And it's just a great network. It's for, people just get it, We advocate, we consult, and sometimes we just catch up socially.
Yeah, so it's a place where you feel really, by the sounds of it, really understood.
Yeah, and we can make change.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's really nice is people who get it, being able to talk about things instead of people deciding for us when they don't have experience.
Yeah, and unless you've been through, a disability or any experience in life, when you haven't been through it, sometimes it can be really hard to understand what it's like. And when we're stressed, we're less kind, we're less compassionate. And of course, everyday life comes with its own changes and stress. So, but when we're more educated about how it feels, and, people like yourself and myself, living with a disability, being able to feel like we've got a voice, and knowing how to communicate our needs is really important. You have to feel very safe in your environment to do that, don't you?
Yeah, and I think that gives people back liberation in their workplace.
Yeah,
knowing that they've got a safe environment, that they also have a say. Because, we've got a massive job ahead of us returning to work, and that piece of work is going to be huge. Yeah. So we have a voice at the table there. We have a voice at the table that's on so many other platforms because of the network. And that's such a comfort. Yeah. Because we have members being able to come to us and say, da-da-da-da-da, and I'd be really interested in contributing towards this.
Yeah.
And it's also a great development opportunity. People then have a safe place to practice and develop, which then contributes to their development in their roles as well.
That's awesome. So what was your turning point? So we understand now how things were, how it felt when it was really hard. What was your turning point that got you through to where you are now, feeling very supported and happier? And
I think not letting fear control me anymore. And that's still a big factor for me, because I do get that anxiety-ridden fear sometimes, and still over really tiny things, but it's still not letting fear control me and hold me back, and taking those big, deep breaths and just getting on with it.
That's really great, because we can control our reactions. We can't control other people's reactions, but we can take responsibility for doing our bit and making sure, we're doing, our bit with, showing up and being the best version of ourselves and communicating our needs. And I find that when I do that, I'm much more understood.
Mm.
Yeah. So how has your life been better? How is your life better now, having gone through what you've been through?
I think I'm more empathetic and compassionate and understanding, and I think it's made me a stronger and a wiser person.
Yeah.
And I think I take a step back. I don't just dive in. Sometimes you need to take that step back and go, hang on a second, we need to just think about what's happening and listen and consider all the possibilities.
Absolutely. So that everybody feels like they have a voice.
And other times you do have to be really reactionary, because what's happened needs to be responded to right away.
Yeah, there are some important issues that do need to be addressed, even when some people feel like they don't want to look at it. And I think being, as calm as possible and as present in the moment is what helps us to be not only in our most creative state, but people are more open to listening to other people's points of view, depending on, how we communicate that.
Exactly.
And obviously that's what's led to you being passionate about helping other people, with disability in the workplace.
Oh, totally. People come to you and they think, and sometimes they judge you because they think, oh, not so sure that you're going to get it. And then they say, what's going on? And you hear them and you repeat and you give some reflection on your own story. And they're like, yeah, you get it.
Yeah.
I can tell already that you get it. And I really appreciate the fact that you've listened and that you want to work with me to resolve my issue.
And that's why you're perfect for that role, because when you have been on both sides of the fence, you do get it, and you can be more powerful in your role. I know that's why a lot of people come and see me, because I've been the practitioner, I am the practitioner, and I've also been the patient. And people feel understood. And if you haven't been through when you're helping people with disability, because you've been through their thought processes, their fears, all the challenges that they have to face, you're going to be more compassionate, but you're just going to be so much more helpful. So it's obviously led you on a good path.
And that's exactly one of the reasons that you're also so calming to see, Amanda. And I think that's really important. People don't want to be dealing with someone when they're in their disability space as well, that's going to be, and then because they're already in that space, they need to be brought down and calmed and reassured that their issue is going to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And when you've got someone talking to them going da 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 da, that escalates them and puts them on that, fight or flight still. And we want to de-escalate that.
We're reactive, aren't we, when we're stressed? And Carolyn Meese has this really great analogy of the ground floor. When we're on the ground floor of a building, all we can see is what's in front of us, and we're merely reactive, and we can't see all the different reasons why things are going on or other people's perspectives. But as we rise up to the penthouse or the top floor, you have a different view, and you can see many more streets and a higher understanding of what's going on. And you're able to, only when we're feeling good within ourselves, happier, healthier, calmer, kinder, can we really open up to other people's points of view. And that's why I love the concept of flexibility, which is what Bend Like Bamboo is all about, is exactly that, being more malleable in our mindset. And that's what I love about you is, you're playing a very important role now, helping other people see that from your perspective of some of the things you've been through. And I love that you're so open about what you've been through, because it's actually helping people. And not everybody has the courage to talk about some of the difficult times that they've faced, but you do. So well done.
Thanks, Amanda. That means so much.
You're a beautiful person, and I don't think you realize how courageous you are sometimes. So I have to let you know. So let me know, what have you learned? What are the main things you've learned with everything you've been through?
Well, one of the things that I've definitely learned from you is I'm never going to stop learning. My journey is never going to stop.
It's a great answer.
And I love to evolve and grow, and you know that. I really believe that every day I should set my, you know, my intention for the day, and then at the end of the day I should really appreciate something from the day. And I've learned to let joy in and be joyful for my day, and finding the positive from the negative. I think that's an absolute, because there's a reason, and you should be taking that negative, because it may not be your opportunity, it's someone else's, and you should be basking in their glory, because your glory is coming to you.
Yeah.
I'm a really big thing that from every negative is a positive.
Yeah.
That's probably my biggest thing that I love to learn from is where is your joy? Where is your positive from this negative? Find it and grow from it.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. There is always a joy in the negative, isn't there? And when we can practice seeing that, we will feel like things are happening for us rather than to us, because everything we go through, which is the concept of resilience, the babies in the background, it's all good. I love it. I love it. Henry will do it in a second as well. It's all real life, Dora. It's all good. Resilience is about going through the hard times, and then the person that we become having gone through that, and the resilience muscle that we build, not going around it, going into the dark black abyss of uncertainty and learning new things, walking paths that are unpaved. You know, it can be a very solo journey. And as you said before, some of the things you've been through, particularly living with a disability, perhaps in a work environment where not everybody knows how that feels, and therefore they're not relating to you, and some of the issues that you have to face, just a lack of understanding can create such conflict. So the amazing thing about what your career has led to is everything you've been through has led you to finding work where you're so passionate about what you do. It's still in the industry you want to be in, but you're tweaking your role to be in your joy every day. That alone is so inspiring.
It is, but do you know, one of the things that I think is so wonderful about life is people try and find comfort all the time. You have to walk an uncomfortable path to find your niche and your comfortable spot. Exactly. And you constantly have to explore those uncomfortable and courageous conversations to find joy.
Yes.
And so many people don't want to have those uncomfortable conversations, but they're not finding that bliss.
But only when you feel capped can you not want to take anything else on. Can you not want to hear other people's points of view? And it's our responsibility within ourselves to never feel that capped, never feel that stressed. Always, like, the glass needs to be half empty, but it needs to be half full, but it needs to be half empty, right? So that you feel like you can always take on new ideas and new information. This is how we can be in our most creative and innovative state. We're going to problem solve better. We're going to work better within our teams. This is so important. And that is something I believe we have to do for ourselves, is taking responsibility to take time out, like you said at the start, with reflection, so that we never feel so capped. And that self-care, can you talk me through your self-care routines?
So the self-care routine that a wonderful person established for me was that I have mantras up. So we set a new mantra. I think we're due for a new mantra, Amanda. So we'll have to do a new one soon. But we have mantras up. We have to set an intention for the day. So I do set an intention for the day, which sometimes I get a bit lazy on. And I do a nice little meditation, a nice reflection, usually sitting in my chair in the morning with a cup of tea before I start my job.
Yeah.
And then I do some time out in the sun in the day with the dogs. Then in the evening, when I'm going to sleep, I do a gratitude conversation in my head to say what I'm I'm grateful for, what I've really struggled with for the day, but I'm really grateful that I struggled for, because I can learn from that and how I can learn from that. And then I close the day out with a meditation. And sometimes I go with my Buddhify, and I also do my journaling as well, because if I don't journal, I get a little bit lost in my head, and then I start having some slightly negative conversations in my head with myself
Me
because I'm not getting my words down.
Yeah, because journaling and meditation helps to empty and wash the mind. And then merely journaling, you're getting all the words out of your head onto paper, closing the tabs, and an opportunity to reorganize your thoughts. So I agree. I'm so glad you're doing your homework, by the way. But yes, I agree. The morning and evening routines and self-care is how we have that glass half empty. That's actually a really cool concept, isn't it? So we always say glass half full, but it needs to be half empty so we have space.
And I do a lot of to-do lists. So I keep, a work to-do list. Sometimes I do a home to-do list. And I also I follow a skin routine as well, so that I start my day and I end my day.
Yeah.
So that I'm nice and balanced and everything feels like it's all coming together. So there's a lot of love for me, for my brain and my body as well.
Beautiful. So do you have 3 tips on how other people listening can be more resilient?
Yes, let others in on your journey, because sometimes even if your journey is alone, you need to let love in. Take joy in the simple things and appreciate the day.
Yeah.
Because that's really important. If you don't appreciate your day, I think that you lose something.
Yeah.
Look for the positive from everything. It's really hard to do in the beginning, but it's really rewarding. The positive from the negatives, they really balance each other out.
Yeah, we have to remind ourselves of what was good in the day. That's one of the evening journaling questions. I've thought of that because, unless we actually sometimes acknowledge it and consciously sit and think about that, we just forget. I love that. Let others know. That's so important. Not everybody is brave. Oh, it's not about being brave. It's just some people aren't comfortable sharing what's going on in their personal lives. And it could be a lack of courage. It could be a fear of being criticized or judged. But I think when you own what's going on with you and you're okay with it, I find that other people seem to be more so as well. But if you're a bit funny about it and you're a bit insecure about it, other people are going to feel that energy and respond in that way.
And something else I really love to do is I love to flatter people.
Yes.
I love to flatter people because it doesn't happen. So if I see someone look great, even if it's a stranger, I'm really big into flattery.
That's beautiful.
So really big into letting someone know that they look good.
Yeah.
And if, someone's wearing a great jumper and I don't know them, I'm like, hey, I love your jumper. Where did you get it?
I love that.
And people often look at me as if I'm completely mad, but I think it's really important to let people know, especially, and in this crazy time, people kind of look at me as if, oh, thanks.
Yeah, totally.
And at the time before COVID, it was kind of like, yeah, you're mad. But now it's kind of like, thanks. I really appreciate you reaching out to me.
Yeah, you can really make someone's day. And whatever it is that you want in your life, I find if you dish it out, it comes back to you tenfold.
And I just think that, people deserve to hear nice things about themselves because so much negative is out there.
Yeah, and in our heads too, sometimes we need to be reminded of our superpowers. Pia, that is such a beautiful way to end. And thank you so much for your time today. You inspire me every time I see you, your positivity, despite all the things you've been through. And you're just such a kind, beautiful soul despite it. And yeah, thanks for sharing today. That was wonderful.
Anytime. I'm an open book and I'm always happy to share it with people.
I love it. And everybody's going to get so much out of today. Thank you so much, Pia. And I will see you soon. And everybody, no matter what it is that you are faced with today, this week, I believe that you can overcome it and give your mind and body the best environment to be calm and flexible, and you'll find it so much easier. See you guys.
Bye.